Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be going over what I consider to be the top 5 premium aircraft in the American Air Force's tech tree. This video will be going over the overall capabilities of the planes on this list and describing how good or bad they are at any given thing. Keep in mind that this is my own top 5 list, so yours could be different. I played each of these planes many times, so I'm quite familiar with how they play and have reviews for most, if not all of them. I will be basing this list mostly on Air RB performance, though we'll give some consideration to close air support when it's due, which is, to be honest, quite often, as American planes tend to be more versatile than the planes of pretty much every other country in War Thunder. I'm avoiding event vehicles with this list when I can, with one slight exception, though you'll see what I mean in a moment. So these are all going to be vehicles that you can either currently purchase or that are available for purchase somewhat regularly with GE. Now with all that said though, let's get into this list. Now number 5 on my list will be a two-parter, and this is what I kind of mentioned before. And this will be the only such selection on this list, the only two-parter. For number 5A, I have the F5C. And for number 5B, I have the F2G1 Super Corsair. The reason why this is a two-parter is because I feel that the Super Corsair honestly is a bit better overall compared to the F5C relative to its BR, but it is currently a marketplace only plane at this point, whereas the F5C is purchasable via a pack. I don't want to have marketplace-only vehicles on this main list, though to be fair, one other plane on this list is not currently for sale, but comes back with some regularity via Golden Eagles. Will possibly even make a permanent comeback in that form as a GE plane. Now with that said, let's go over the F5C, which is my pick number 5A. While some people may feel the F5C is still one of the best planes, I really don't know so much anymore. If nothing else, it barely slips into the top 5 of American premium planes, at least in my opinion. This is largely because while there are plenty of capable American premium aircraft, such as the Ascender or F-89B, they aren't as relatively complete as the F-5C is. With that said, while it is still capable, the F-5C has seen several BR increases, and many other aircraft have been added to War Thunder since its initial release. At its current 11.0 BR, it only has 2 AIM-9Es, no ballistic computers for bombs or rockets, fairly low supersonic speeds, and a somewhat limited cannon setup. Heck, at least currently, the F-5E, which is nearly a complete improvement over the F-5C, being much faster, having better missiles, and a much better bombing and CAS loadout, is still its same 11.0 BR. Heck, even if it were dropped to 10.7 BR, the F-5C would still be deficient in many ways. Now, I'm not saying that the F-5C is a bad plane, it just has a high BR in Air RB, even after continual decompression. Decompression of which has unfortunately also dragged the F-5C up in BR, though I do see it going down in BR soon, which should hopefully justify this 5A pick. I know I'm going to get hell for saying this about the F5C, but if you look deep inside your soul, you know it's true. Still, it just barely gets into the top 5 of this list, mainly because it's still very versatile, and because other planes that would normally beat it out are marketplace vehicles. Now with that said, speaking of marketplace vehicles, for pick number 5B, the F2G1 Super Corsair. The Super Corsair is the only vehicle on my top 5 list that is currently unavailable for purchase outside of the War Thunder marketplace. I wanted to make this list all vehicles that you could currently purchase outside of the marketplace, but the F2G1 is so damn good that I was hard pressed to be able to find anything else that could fit in its place. Between its fast speed, very good armament, especially when equipped with incendiary tracers, excellent maneuverability and climb rate, and even a fairly good bomb and rocket setup, the Super Corsair is fantastic. Still, if nothing else, because this vehicle was the free reward for the first season of Battle Pass in War Thunder, there are still currently plenty available on the War Thunder marketplace, though their price is ever increasing as it currently sits at give or take around $40 USD while recording this video. Pricing aside, the F2G1 Super Corsair is also a great piece of history that I hope Gaijin brings back for everyone to experience again in the future. Now for number 4 on this list, the A6E Tram. The Tram is quite possibly the biggest sleeper on this list. It can carry up to 4 AIM-9Ls, 4 20mm gun pods, though of course you'd have to mix and match them because you can't just carry 4 AIM-9Ls and 20mm gun pods, so at least it has that limitation. It can carry up to 9 GBU-12 laser-guided bombs, up to 28 500-pound bombs, up to 13 1,000-pound bombs, and a whole host of other types of weaponry. Sure, it's not supersonic, but the Tram is still very capable at performing in both air and ground battles. So long as you're a little sneaky with it in order to avoid its mediocre performance, the Tram can be an excellent plane and get points in almost any way that you can imagine. This vehicle is at number 4 mainly due to its versatility and surprising effectiveness in air battles. Now for number 3 on this list, the AV-8A. Like most of the planes on this list, the AV-8A is a great all-arounder. It is surprisingly quick despite being subsonic, and has good AIM-9G missiles at its BR. While it isn't maneuverable, it can still do very well in air battles if you can properly anticipate enemy movements and minimize your own weaknesses. It even carries up to 240 countermeasures if equipping the countermeasures pod, which is an absurd amount, especially at this BR. Plus it has ballistic computers for both bombs and rockets, which when combined with everything else, allows you to play however you want in whatever game mode you want. Plus it has VTOL capabilities, which can be fun. Being that the AV-8A is not always available for purchase in-game, though it has come back for sale via GE at some points, if memory serves at least, and will likely continue to come back in semi-regular intervals for purchase, or might even come back permanently, as that does happen on occasion. Because this vehicle can be purchased from time to time and is not outright just a forgotten about vehicle by Gaijin, I do have it on this list. If I had to pick a currently permanent premium American aircraft to put on this list in place of the AV-8A, it'd probably be the F-20 Tiger Shark, although at number 5, and then I move everything else I listed before thus far up a spot on this list, if that makes any sense. All in all though, the AV-8A benefits from its relatively low BR and surprisingly great weaponry with associated technologies like, again, ballistic computers. Now for number 2 on this list, the A2D1 Skyshark. What a cool nickname. Probably more than almost any other vehicle on this list, at least relative to BR, the A2D1 is the ultimate plane in regards to versatility. It can carry up to one 4,000-pound bomb alongside two 2,000-pound bombs, which is insane for its BR, which is currently 7.0. In Air RB though, of course, in Air AB it's over 9.0 BR, which is crazy in and of itself, and this loadout will typically destroy 2 bases in Air RB and lots of tanks in ground battles. It has 4 very powerful 20mm cannons with 800 rounds in total, surprisingly good maneuverability, a fairly sturdy airframe, good performance though will admittedly be outpaced by most jets in terms of top speed. It has a good climb rate, can carry 2 torpedoes, has a radar, has air brakes, and can even roll decently enough. Plus this vehicle has an air spawn. The only thing that this plane really lacks would be good rockets, as it can only carry HFARs, and isn't all too fast compared to jets. That plus the fact that it acts like a fighter magnet, as so many people go straight for the A2D1s right when they spot them. It is not an innately overpowered vehicle in one way or another, but the A2D1 is extremely good at several different things, which earns its number 2 spot on this list. Part of me even wants to put this thing at number 1, but you'll see why I didn't in just a few moments. Now with that said, as I do with every one of these top 5 videos, my honorable mentions before we get to number 1. And for my first honorable mention, we have the P47 M1 Re. This vehicle is kind of in the same boat as the F2G1, and the reason why I put it here is because it's still pretty damn good, but it's not quite as good, at least in my opinion, as the F2G1 to be able to warrant a spot on the list proper. The P47 M1 Re is still great, but it does have a high BR for the Thunderbolt. It can also carry almost 2,000 kilograms of ordnance, which is fantastic for this BR, but really isn't more than the lower BR N variants. The big thing here is the performance boost on the M1, which is great, but it's still not quite enough, again, to put itself in my top 5 list. Again, this is one of those vehicles that does come around periodically for sale, so you can purchase it at those points, and for the most part, I do recommend purchase of this vehicle, as it is very good. Also, its stock skin is absolutely awesome. In my opinion, the BR might be a little bit high for this vehicle, but overall, if you are a P47 fan, you'll probably like this plane as well. Now for my second honorable mention, the A1H Skyraider. This vehicle suffers largely the same issues as the P47 M1 Re. It's a great vehicle, but is no longer available outside of the marketplace, or in the case of the M1 Re, outside of semi-regular sales. That and the fact that the Skyraider is perpetually low on energy due to its high weight and fairly low speed. This makes it difficult to maneuver, which in turn makes it difficult to consistently be able to defend yourself. If you can manage to do this, the Skyraider can annihilate enemies with its 4 20mm cannons and up to 8 LMG miniguns, which provides many thousands of rounds per minute of firepower. Aside from this, the Skyraider can carry over 4,500 kilograms of ordnance, which is absolutely absurd for this BR. That plus the Skyraider has a toilet that I can drop on my enemies is why this is an honorable mention on my list. And one final thing to note before we get to number 1, I know that some of you might want the A10A early on this list, or at least as an honorable mention. While it can do well in many matches, the vast majority of people are absolutely terrible with this vehicle, vehicle, largely due to its awful speed at a BR where at least some level of speed, such as what you see with the Harriers, is necessary. If nothing else, this vehicle just barely gets out of the honorable mentions category, so take that as you will. The A10A early is like an alternative honorable mention, if that makes any level of sense. Now, with everything said, let's get into number 1, and that is the XP50. On one hand, the XP50 has absolutely zero capabilities in terms of CAS outside of strafing and air cover. On the other hand, no other plane is as dominant in one single game mode as the XP50 is in ARB, which is by far the main way to fly aircraft in War Thunder. Sure, it isn't versatile like most other planes on this list, but it is absolutely dominant when playing in ARB. This is due to many factors, such as its wonderful armament of two 20mm cannons and two 50 cal HMGs, though of course the cannons only have 60 rounds per gun. The XP50 also features an interceptor air spawn, an excellent rate of climb, great maneuverability, great top speed, a fairly small profile for a twin-engine plane, and the entirety of its armament is in the nose, which means that there is no gun convergence, which makes it much easier to aim. All of this is obviously great, but mixed with its currently very low 4.0 BR, the XP50 has become loved by those who fly it and absolutely loathed by those who fly against it. While the other planes on this list are great at wearing many masks, the XP50 wears its one mask better than any other plane wears any single mask on this list, and by a wide margin. That is why, in my opinion, it is the best American premium aircraft flying in War Thunder, at least currently. Now with that said, thank you all so much for watching. I know that this list is likely a bit controversial, and you all probably don't have vehicles in the same order that I do, or may have even left out some vehicles entirely from what your list would have been. Let me know your top 5 American premium aircraft in the comments below, and I'm sure that other people would like to compare lists. Again, this list was my opinion that has been informed by hundreds or even thousands of matches between these vehicles, and I do have reviews on most of these vehicles, so if you want to check them out, I'll try to link them down below. Either way, again, let me know what you guys think about this list in the comments below, but for me personally, the XP50 takes the cake simply because it is more dominant in ARB than any other premium American aircraft is at any other game mode in War Thunder, again, at least currently. So either way, thanks again. Please, if you don't mind, consider subscribing, but I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.